And good morning. Welcome back to the KFYR Plus News Desk. It's 6 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's Tuesday morning. That means it's time to zoom in with Monica. Good morning, Monica Hannan. How are you today? Oh, I think you might be on mute there with your phone, possibly. I see your lips
Oh
moving,
man.
but I can't hear. There you go.
Yeah, how about that?
There we got you. Well, good morning. It looks bright and sunny there. I know that you're a bit of on a field trip today.
That's right. That's right. It's bright and sunny. It's going to be 80 degrees here in Dumfries today. Beautiful. We're out. I'm out here at the Callender Eastman Bailey Cemetery, which is 2 doors down from my house.
Okay, so very, very close to your home. I'm going to get to how you feel about living so closely to, I guess, a cemetery. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, do you want to go through some of the pictures first, or would you like to kind of give a brief history of the cemetery itself?
Yeah, no, I think that you should at least. Did you get because I see that I texted the main picture to you instead of
Yep,
emailing it. I didn't see. Oh, did you have that one? Did you get the main picture?
I think this is it,
Kind of.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So it's located on top of a hill, and the interesting thing about this area right here is that it's got a long history um, of lots of different owners. So it was once part of like
Mm-hmm.
a something called the Terrapin Forest, and so originally when white settlers came here, this was originally started out as like a tobacco and wheat plantation,
Okay.
and for a long time this area, because of the it was a huge port, and so tobacco was grown here, and the way it was, tobacco depletes the soil, and so the tobacco farmers would, instead of trying to fix the soil, they would just take out more trees from the forest and just plant more fields. Eventually what happened was that caused the all the soil to run into the river, and it eventually silted shut, and so what was supposed to be a harbor like New York ended up silting in, and so eventually the tobacco kind of created a problems, and some farmers from the north decided to come down, and they had different farming practices, and so they started planting clover and things, replenish the soil, and that's what the Baileys did. They came down from New York, and they ran a dairy farm, so they planted things that would nourish the soil, and so that's what this cemetery is, the family plot for the Callenders, the Eastmans, and the Baileys, and they kind of intermarried. So this is their family home. There are 12 people buried here that are known. 11 of them are named and known. One is unknown, but they know that they're here. And a family dog is also here. So this is a very interesting place. So the 12 people that are buried here, um, the oldest, the person that was buried here the longest, his name was Francis Bailey, and he was born in 1809. So after the Revolutionary War, he died at
Mm-hmm.
the age of 80, and I think he was probably the dad, the grandfather type, and he is probably the one that maybe initially brought the family here, and and was a farmer, and he was the last person known buried here within the fence was Mary Bailey. She was buried in 1929, and of course the land wasn't actually sold for a long time, so it was just kind of kept in the family, within the family, and then eventually sold as part of the Montclair subdivision. Montclair, we live in Dumfries slash Montclair here. So Montclair is like a subdivision of Dumfries. And then
Okay.
the subdivision where we live and where my house is 2 doors down, is called, it is called Four Seasons. And there's like 800 houses here. So we are basically right on top of what at one time was a Civil War. No battles were fought here, but I think one can assume that there were a lot of soldiers here. In fact, it's known that initially there was a manor house here. The manor house is like over my shoulder, but it doesn't exist anymore. Just the like the foundation, little bit of the foundation left, and the land was altered pretty significantly here. But some interesting things about this cemetery: there are Civil War burials. I think it's just assumed here. Nobody knows exactly where they are because there are houses
Mm-hmm.
here and now. But uh, it's just assumed that both the Confederate and Union armies were through here. And so the houses, or the big house, the big manor house, probably was a field hospital. And if it was, one would assume that people died. And so people that are experts in locating graves came here, and one of the places that they think that people were buried is just off to the other side of this fence here. That right there is the family marker. Um, this cemetery wasn't always well maintained. Denise Polland, who gave me a lot of this information, and one of my neighbors, is one of the people that was instrumental in saving the cemetery. They had to come in, clean it up. It was very overgrown, as are many, many. There are 400, more than 400 cemeteries in just this one county in Virginia. And a lot of them are overgrown and neglected. And this one was too. But she, with a group of other people, came in, they cleaned up the gravestones, set them back up because they were falling over. It was overgrown by grasses and things. These are the people that are buried here. And they did a lovely job of restoring this cemetery and maintaining it. So it's very important, I think, to the history of Virginia, and actually the history of this country, to maintain these places. Very historic. That's where I think that's Francis's
Yep.
tombstone there. And it was fallen over, and parts of it were toppled, and they restored it. I think it looks beautiful now. And
Mm-hmm.
and so, yeah, I can tell that it's beautiful, isn't it? This is
It
kind of
is.
what it looks like. And go ahead.
It's really interesting, very interesting. I mean, how common were these private burial plots on plantations and farms in Virginia?
Very common, because the family would live there, and you not only was your family there, but you very likely, at least early on, the Baileys didn't, because they were from the north, and they were here right before the Civil War and then after, so they did not have enslaved people. Like, they likely did not. But there were also enslaved people that worked on these large plantations, and obviously they would die, and they would need to be buried. So there were family cemeteries. And then if you go to some of for instance, in Dumfries, there's an entire cemetery that's dedicated to the enslaved people and the freed people after the
Mm-hmm.
war. And many of them are marked simply with field stones. And a lot of the reason it's hard to find some of the Civil War burials too is because they aren't marked with headstones. They're marked with field stones, which is basically just a big rock that's set upright.
Yeah.
So you don't really know who's there. You just know somebody is. So off to the side here, like I said, they know there are people buried there. They don't know who they are, but they assume that they are Civil War burials. And it's possible, just like on the Oregon Trail, people die and you bury them there. You don't really know who it is, but you know that they're there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and here's a really interesting part of history. It goes way farther back. Behind this cemetery, during the Revolutionary War, after the Battle of Saratoga, German soldiers were captured and taken as prisoner of war, and they were brought here and made to work. And many of them, a large group of them, died of typhoid or yellow fever, and they were buried here on this hill. At least that's what legend, local lore says, and experts think that it probably is true. Buried behind this area in the family cemetery, because what would happen is, that's where people are buried. So if you're on a farm and you're working and people are buried here, then they would put other people here, maybe not inside the family plot, but nearby.
Nearby.
That would make
Mm-hmm.
sense. Yeah. And so when they
What?
came in and they developed the land, they disturbed a lot of the land around here, and that happened before people were really horribly concerned about architectural saving things that from the past. I do have a couple of artifacts that were discovered here during the restoration that I don't know if you can see. This is just an old nail. Can you see it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure
So
can.
imagine that. That's like hand hewn, and then here's a horseshoe, like a piece of a horseshoe. And
Okay.
if anywhere that you would walk in here, I was talking to one of the people that was doing the restoration work, and I was saying, do people come in here with like metal detectors and things like that? She's like, yeah, we really wish you wouldn't. and that's bad form, I guess. So
You
because
know,
I'm sure. Go ahead.
w- uh, so when you first visited the Bailey family cemetery, what stood out to you?
I think just how peaceful it is right here on this hill. I feel a great sense of peace here. Although, in looking on the internet, I understand that this particular cemetery has been part of ghost walks in the past. Some people
Sure.
have seen like a some people have claimed to see these Hessian soldiers walking down by the creek bed, and other people have claimed to see like they say a gray lady, like a woman just walking. Um, some have claimed there's a woman buried here. Her name is Naomi. Have claimed that she is here. Some people have perhaps captured pictures. I haven't seen these. So but is that real, or is that just an attempt to get people to come in and pay for the tour? I don't know. So
Mm.
I've never seen
Hmm.
anything like that. I find it very, very peaceful and calm, and just like this whole area, very peaceful and nice. There's trees and flowers, and it's very pretty.
As you mentioned, you saw that nail you found that was buried, from things years gone by, from 200 years ago. What do you think they're going to find 200 years from us now? Like cell phones? You find they'll dig up a cell phone, and what else are they going to find?
Yeah. Yeah, probably nothing near. Well, of course, we wouldn't find it nearly as fun. I'm sure that they would. I mean, we have a lot more junk now. I mean, a lot more stuff. So,
Yes.
uh, I'm sure that 200 years from now, when they dig up our landfills, they'll be thinking, "What did these people do? Did they never do anything except talk on the phone?" Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever done anything like that? Like thrown magnets into a river?
No.
Done anything like? Does that sound fun to you?
I've seen videos where people do it, and a lot of time the videos, because it's a video where people are watching it, they pulled out guns or knives or something that could have been part of a crime, I suppose,
Right, right.
or
I've seen
bombs.
those too. Yeah, they called the police, and yeah, I don't. My daughter one year, because she and I do a lot of exploring. We like to, for instance, we like to go to old cemeteries. We find them very interesting, and she likes to clean them up. Like pull weeds and clean up headstones and things. And so we do that. And so one year she got me a magnet, one of these big magnets. Because we've watched these videos. We have never found.
Hmm.
We haven't gone out very many times, just a couple times, but we never got anything. We never found anything. So I don't know I, I don't know that I have the patience for that sort of thing. And there is a part of me too that feels like, maybe some of this stuff should be undisturbed. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree
And
with you. Um,
if you
so
go to
you're
like
just too. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, if you go to, like, for instance, the Knife River Indian villages, we've walked around there and you find arrowheads and things like that, and they ask you not to disturb it. And it makes sense, because if everybody walked away with you get so excited when you find it. And if everybody walks away with that thing that you found, then the next person doesn't, it's not really doing you any good. And the next person doesn't get to find it and be excited by it.
Right. Exactly. So just, yeah, leave it where it sits so other people
I,
can enjoy that history.
right.
When you said that you, of course, live two doors away, were there any thoughts that crossed your mind about buying the place, or you're like, nah, it's not a big deal to me?
No, not at all. I think it's great. I love the history of it. First, Dumfries is the oldest incorporated town in Virginia, and our house is the second one built here in this neighborhood. It's 800 houses. Ours was house number 2, so it's been here a while, um, and it just feels very peaceful and calm to me. So no, I'm not afraid of cemeteries. I've never seen ghosts, Jay. So, and if I did see one, I don't think it would worry me. So, um, no, I don't. I like cemeteries. I think they're very peaceful places for the most part. Would it bother
Hmm.
you?
I don't know. I think maybe a little bit. I think it would.
Really,
I'm kind of
really
superstitious. Yeah.
superstitious in what way? What do you think would happen?
Um, I think uh, I think the ghost would come back. I believe in ghosts, don't you?
I was having this conversation with Denise the other day. I don't. I suppose it could happen. I've just never seen one, so I don't know. And then what are they? I mean, are they? I guess I believe that
Spirits?
you die. Well, you die and move on, right? I mean, why would you want to hang around here? I don't know. And if you did, what would be your point? And I don't think they can hurt you. So, other than
No,
just
I
kind
don't
of
think
freak.
that they hurt you, but they kind of just freak you out, you know? Uh, I think so.
I think I would just pray for them and say move on. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
that's what I'd do.
Well, there's got to be people living next to cemeteries, and those are people like Monica Hannan who will gladly purchase a house, the second house built in the. I thought when you said it was the second house built there, like you got a really, really old house then.
No, this was just farmland for a long time. A lot of parts of Virginia, had huge plantations with many, many, many acres. And this, when I say that the family house was here, well, it's not sitting right here. It's a ways away, and
Yeah.
you don't put the cemetery, right next to your door. So it's a ways away, and this was farmland for a long time. This Montclair, the subdivision, was sold in 1960, and begun. And this particular housing uh, unit here wasn't even begun until 2000, and I don't think the first house was built until I think probably 2010. So
Mm.
no, it's new, and a lot of the houses here are much newer than that. So it's very modern. Our house is one of the oldest, but still very modern. And because I'm over the old house thing, Jay, we've always had old houses, and
You have.
when Cliff could move, I was like, yeah, I'm over the old house thing. I want a dishwasher that works, and I want walls that are straight and floors that don't tip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
You
say
talk
that
about,
you have a river near you in your backyard?
no, it's not in the backyard. There are rivers nearby. I mean, the Potomac River and the Occoquan Reservoir. We get our water from the Occoquan aquifer, and those are rivers that are nearby. And because of the proximity of the river, that's what made this area interesting to the Civil War troops on both
Hmm.
sides. And also, it was high, and so it was a good lookout point. So we're up high on a hilltop here, and so we can look down. You can see quite a ways. You can't see it, but you can see quite a ways into the distance when you look out here. That first picture that I showed you, you can see, if it weren't for the houses, you could see the hillsides quite a ways around us, and so it would have been a good lookout point.
Okay. Just one thing here. Do not use your magnet in the Potomac River, at least for a few more months, okay? Because I hear bad things about it.
I'm not gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna go near the Potomac River and throw anything in it or get anything out of it. Yeah, like I said, we did that a couple times, and I don't have the patience for that sort of thing. And like I said, I definitely have the feeling that things that you pull out should kind of be left alone. And it's like, yeah, if you pulled a gun out, what would you do with it? And it's probably done. If it's in there, it did something bad, and it's got bad juju anyway, right?
Yeah, it does, exactly. We could do this segment because it's such a historical, that land that you're on or that area that you're in right now, Virginia and the DC area. I mean, we could every week do something like this, right? I mean, there's just so many historical places in the DMV.
Absolutely. I mean, we could, and definitely, I'm certainly willing. If you guys are interested, there are places just right around here. I wouldn't even have to go very far.
Hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for and sharing with us the Bailey Family Cemetery. I mean, places like that remind us that history isn't always found in museums, right?
That's exactly right. And also another thing to keep in mind too, um, the information that we have here is sometimes we get it wrong because you go online, and this old
Hmm.
information is shared by various people, and you get various different versions. It's not always correct, so you have to keep
Sure.
that in mind. You get the best that you can. Today I got several different versions of the events that I shared here, and I kind of went with the ones that seemed the most likely. So
All right. I
there you
love
go.
it. History with Monica Hannan every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m.
That's right. You learn a little bit about where we all established our history.
That was one of my favorite classes in school. I really am kind of a history guy. I could sit down and watch the History Channel. When it was the History Channel, it's not so much anymore, but I could sit down and watch it all day long.
Me too. I have a history. I majored in history in college.
Favorite era of history?
Well, I'm. It was basically the European history, like early European history. Obviously, you're early, but so I was more interested at the time in like the history of Britain and France, that kind of thing. But American history. Here's the thing, though. I don't have a head for facts. That's the problem.
Mm,
I remember them
hmm.
long enough to write the paper, and then they kind of go. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yep.
problem. That's a problem for a history major. So so don't ask me any questions about them about details, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I gotcha.
that's an issue.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Monica. I sure appreciate this visit this week. It was very enlightening and very fun to learn about that.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And like I said, if I see a ghost or if I find out anything else, I will update you all.
Let me know. Take a picture. Okay. First of all,
Oh,
document it.
if I see one, although it seems like when people take pictures of ghosts, they never seem to show up. Do you ever notice that?
Well, yeah, that's true, I guess. But if you can video, I think video is better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Or like they don't show up on the video, but then when you go to print the picture, then suddenly there it is. Weird stuff
There it is, or
happens.
something. Yeah. All right, Monica. Have a great week and thank you so much.
That's right. Say hi to everybody for me.
Sure will. Take care. Bye bye now. 27 past the hour. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with the day's top news stories.